Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. The guys are back in the game after tunnel hit under the garden shaft. The Curse of Oak Island team started celebrating on last night's episode as they found clear evidence of the long-sought-after tunnel under the garden shaft. Finally, after weeks of frustration, the flooding in the shaft was dealt with, and Dumas began probe drilling at the bottom. The Dumas guys began drilling at 90 feet and aimed straight down, hoping to hit something at about 95 feet. The Oak Island team stood on the surface, impatiently watching the monitors, and they were rewarded when the drills struck something at 97 feet. The drill casing was brought back up to reveal a pretty hefty chunk of wood, which will be sent straight away for carbon-14 dating. They'll be hoping for a date pre-1790s. While this is not a definitive confirmation that they've located the tunnel, it does seem pretty likely. The Oak Island team reckons this tunnel runs under the garden shaft and heads directly to the baby blob, where they expect to find a quantity of precious metals. Marty Lagina said with a big grin, "We are back in the game." Lagina brothers rule out another big dig for Oak Island for this season. Unfortunately, it wasn't all good news last night. The Lagina brothers announced to the team there would be no new big dig this season. Frankly, with us already halfway through the season, they concluded that they just don't have the time to bring in large casings. So the focus will remain on the garden shaft, which was the original plan for this season, and hopefully they've now got the ball rolling with last night's discovery. Also, on last night's show, there was lots of discussion about artifacts. In the last couple of weeks, the archaeologists on Lot 5 recovered a couple of tiny colorful beads from the circular stone feature. The guys suspected they were Venetian glass, but decided to take the artifacts to bead expert Philip Doucette. Philip was super impressed with the beads and didn't hesitate to say they were definitely from Venice. He said the distinctive blue, red, and white stripes suggested the beads were an early formation produced by stretching out the glass by hand. Oak Island team find 500-year-old Venetian beads. The expert dated them to about 1500 to 1650. Philip explained how these beads were considered very high-value items. Just 4 or 5 of these beads could purchase a beaver pelt. He also stated that these beads were often used as currency by Portuguese sailors and merchants who traveled up and down the east coast of North America 500 years ago. The guys were reminded of the theory that the stone roadway in the swamp could have been built 500 years ago by the Portuguese. Perhaps the Portuguese also built the circular stone feature where the beads were found. Also, on the theme of Lot 5 artifacts, Laird Niven, Emma Culligan, and Gary Drayton identified an old coin, which was also recovered from the circular stone feature. It was an English penny or halfpenny from the 1760s, most likely minted during the reign of King George VIII. The coin was buried in a layer near the surface, so the guys hope there will be even older artifacts buried underneath. Fingers crossed. The Curse of Oak Island has captivated audiences for years with its enigmatic blend of history, mystery, and relentless pursuit of a treasure believed to be buried deep within its earth. The latest season has once again thrown the intrepid team back into the throes of excitement and anticipation. This time, the buzz is centered around a monumental discovery made beneath the garden shaft. A tunnel, hidden for centuries, has been unearthed, promising new leads and possibilities. Rick and Marty Lagina, the brothers who have dedicated their lives to solving the Oak Island mystery, stood at the edge of the garden shaft, peering into the newly discovered tunnel. Their faces were a mixture of triumph and caution. This was a significant breakthrough, perhaps the most promising one yet, but Oak Island had a reputation for being both generous and treacherous. The garden shaft had always been a focal point in their search. It was one of the many shafts scattered across the island, each whispering secrets of the past. As the team descended into the depths, the air was thick with anticipation. The tunnel was crudely dug, its walls uneven and bearing the marks of tools long abandoned. This was not a natural formation. It was the work of human hands, hands that might have buried a treasure, hid secrets, or concealed something far more sinister. Lighting their way with powerful torches, the team pressed forward. Jack Begley, always the first to volunteer for the more dangerous tasks, took the lead. His excitement was palpable. He had a gut feeling about this tunnel. Behind him, Craig Tester and Gary Drayton followed, their experienced eyes scanning every inch for clues. Alex Lagina and Billy Gerhardt brought up the rear, ensuring that every step was safe. As they ventured deeper, the tunnel began to show signs of meticulous planning. Wooden supports, now ancient and brittle, lined the walls at regular intervals. It was a testament to the effort and determination of whoever had built it. But the question remained, why? The answer seemed closer than ever. The tunnel led them to a small chamber. The room was low, forcing them to crouch, and the air was stale, untouched by the outside world for what could have been centuries. At the center of the chamber was a stone slab, unlike the surrounding rocks. It was smooth, almost polished, and adorned with carvings. Gary's metal detector beeped incessantly as he swept it over the slab. There was definitely something here. With careful precision, they began to excavate around the stone, revealing more carvings that seemed to tell a story. These markings were unlike anything they had seen on the island before. They appeared to be a mix of symbols and script, perhaps a forgotten language or a code. Rick, ever the historian, meticulously documented the carvings. He was convinced they were on the brink of something monumental. Marty, the engineer, analyzed the structural integrity of the chamber, making sure they could proceed safely. The tension was electric. As they pried the stone slab from its resting place, the ground beneath it revealed a narrow staircase descending further into darkness. This was no ordinary tunnel. It was an entrance to something much larger. The team exchanged looks of disbelief and excitement. The treasure hunt had just reached a new level. Descending the staircase, the walls began to change. No longer rough and rudimentary, they became smooth and adorned with intricate designs. This was a passage crafted with care, perhaps even reverence. It led them to another chamber, larger and grander than the first. In the center of this chamber was a chest. It was old, the wood darkened with age, and the metal bands that held it together were rusted but intact. The sight of it sent a thrill through the team. Could this be the fabled treasure of Oak Island? With trembling hands, they opened the chest. Inside, they found not gold or jewels, but a collection of ancient scrolls and manuscripts. The disappointment was brief, replaced by the realization that these documents could be far more valuable. They could hold the key to understanding the island's mysteries, perhaps even the location of the ultimate treasure. The scrolls were delicate, written in the same script as the carvings. It was a language that none of them recognized, but Rick was certain it could be deciphered. The team carefully packed the documents, knowing they had to be preserved and studied with the utmost care. As they made their way back to the surface, the weight of their discovery began to sink in. This tunnel, hidden beneath the garden shaft, was a new chapter in the Oak Island saga. It was a chapter that promised answers, but also more questions. What did the scrolls say? Who had written them? And why were they hidden here? And most importantly, what other secrets lay beneath the island? Back in the war room, the team gathered around the scrolls. They enlisted the help of experts in ancient languages and cryptography. Days turned into weeks as they worked tirelessly to decipher the texts. Each breakthrough brought new revelations. The scrolls spoke of a great treasure, but also of a curse. It was said that only those pure of heart could uncover the island's secrets without suffering its wrath. The story captivated the team. They had always sensed there was more to Oak Island than mere treasure. It was a place of history, of legends, and perhaps even of magic. The curse was a new element, one that added to the island's mystique. As the texts were slowly translated, they began to form a map. It was not a traditional map with clear directions, but a series of clues and riddles. The team realized that the journey was far from over. The tunnel beneath the garden shaft was just the beginning. There were more chambers, more passages, and undoubtedly more challenges ahead. But for the first time, they felt they were on the right path. The island was giving up its secrets, piece by piece. The excitement was palpable, the sense of adventure reignited. They were back in the game, more determined than ever. The curse of Oak Island had thrown them another curveball, but this time they were ready. The garden shaft had led them to a discovery that could change everything, and as they prepared for the next phase of their quest, they knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The treasure, the curse, the mystery, it was all part of the incredible journey that had brought them to Oak Island. And they were not done yet.